westerly wind, so this is Point Conception on the live satellite map. This is the direction of the wind. This is where the picture is taken, right here. So you see how it just shears off? And so this is why one of the reasons the climate of Southern California is so different. Point Conception, if it weren't for Point Conception, this fog would all be filled into here. But it creates this natural barrier with the prevailing wind. So just a great example of sort of topography impacting the weather, and not just the weather, impacting the climate. We're going to look at a lot of stuff today. We're going to look at fire weather. There's a big fire down by Camp Pendleton. We're going to look at the Weather Service headlines, as we often do. We're going to look at computer models, just because it's awesome and fun, and we'll relate them to what we're seeing in the live pictures. Then we get right to the live pictures, California north to south, and we take a look at just what we just did. We go, hey, look, there's the satellite image. Look what it shows. Oh, here's a live picture. This is what it shows. We'll do that with inversions. We'll do that with temperature. There's a bunch of stuff. So we work our way all the way down the coast, talk a little history as well. Then we get to Nature Snacks, which is one of my favorite parts. We're going to talk about super hurricane or super typhoon Bobby, and it's downgrading but heading towards the islands, towards Taiwan. We'll talk about that and then do surf report. So we'll take a look at that fire I mentioned. This is Pendleton or Camp Pendleton area. Let me move some of this stuff around here. So the pipeline fire, they're calling it. It's over 1,000 acres. It really started yesterday. And there's not a lot of information on it, maybe because it's on a military base. But I think I can, let's see if I can pull this in a little bit. I hope I didn't just, yeah, so we'll go here. So that's a pretty decent looking fire. Camp Pendleton yesterday. I suspect they've got a pretty good handle on it. It is impacting air quality in the area. Don't have a lot of fires burning in California. We do in the West, but not in California. This was one of the bigger ones. This is the biggest one. And it's showing no containment yet, but we shall see. We shall see if we get containment soon. Let me see if I can move this out. We'll take a look at while we're at watch duty, right? We should look at all the whole state, if you will. It's amazing with this watchduty.org, which is on my links, real-time fire data. But what's amazing is I've been doing this before, and every once in a while I'll go, hey, let's check it, and boom, there's a fire. Now, today's not that kind of day. We have a really deep inversion, mild temperatures as well. So you see all those grays are fires that have been tamped out. That's awesome. So no real active, I can't remember a July, late June, early July, where we had so little fire activity, which is awesome, which is indicative of that strong rain season we had. Not snow season, but rain season. These are the temperature forecasts for today. You are going to be in a pattern. It's going to be kind of like Groundhog Day in terms of the weather the next couple of days. Then it warms up as we head into Thursday, kind of into Friday. You'll see that. It's all subtle stuff. Down in the southwest, so down towards Los Angeles, Palm Springs, Palm Desert, Las Vegas, it's going to be pretty hot. You can see it is hot down there. Right? These are the forecast highs for today. If you're watching this at night, those already happened. Highs tomorrow are going to be pretty similar. Satellite map. See the fog along the coast. And what you see right here is you see aggressive fog push inland. That's the Bay Area. That's Monterey Bay. Lots of fog up around the Oric and Eureka area. One of the things to note is, see how Cape Mendocino sticks out like Point Conception? Those are major topographic features see how remember we showed you how clear it was at Halama, right? Because of that topography. Well, it does the same thing, like Shelter Cove and those areas, at Fort Bragg, they get a little push from Cape Mendocino as the clouds get sheared away with a northwesterly prevailing wind. Southern California, you're a benefactor of that as well, because that's why you're clear right now, or mostly clear. You see a lot of thunderstorms down in the Gulf, down towards Louisiana. They got some severe thunderstorm concerns down there. We've got a heat advisory in orange right there. We've got small craft advisory offshore. These blues are just the Weather Service saying you've got sneaker waves. I take offense at the term sneaker wave. I just think they're set waves. Just pay attention. When you go to the ocean, just pay attention. They're not sneaking up on you. The waves aren't trying to kill you. You're not paying attention. So it should be a pay attention warning. It's weird when they do that. I never have like that. It just sounds silly. Sounds like if you're somebody from, Ohio or something with sneaker wears, because I don't know. This is a wind advisory on Lake San Luis, our San Luis Reservoir. Extreme heat advisory, gale warning off Point Conception, and that's part of the reason the gale. It's blowing pretty hard, but that fog is getting sheared. And then there's the extreme heat warnings as we go through this week down in the desert area. So this is Southern California, Los Angeles Weather Service saying, heat advisory. Remember we talked about heat too being the thing. Because it impacts everybody. It impacts everybody. It impacts pets, bugs, insects, birds. Everybody gets impacted by it. And it's one of the things that we sort of just, it's weird. I grew up in the heat, right? I grew kind of in the Central Valley. I was paradise, but we'd go to Chico all the time in the summer, it'd be 110 degrees. And it has a huge impact on culture. That the seasonal culture is just amazing. So that's what's going on. What are they going to? Is it going to stay in effect through Friday for Southern California, San Luis Obispo South, and then extreme heat warning? And they mean it when they're down. When you're talking about extreme heat warning in El Centro and in Blythe and in Tonopah, so it's going to be hot with temperatures into the 115 range. These are the models. So we're looking at the 500 millibar, 18,000 foot. Temperature anomaly. This just is a nice way to show change in terms of weather. This is right now. Right now those are average temperatures today. Tomorrow's what, Wednesday? Yeah, a little warmer tomorrow, and Thursday a little warmer still. But these are it's a non-event thus far for much of Northern California, Bakersfield North. And then by the time you get to Friday, right? What do you do with that? Like Pacific Northwest, much cooler. So we're right on that line. You see, and when I say right on the line, right, here's the low, cooler, there's cooler than average, warmer than average. Here's a big high building in. This big high is one of the reasons we're waiting for the monsoonal flow, which is it gets so hot at the surface. I'm going to do this. It gets so hot in the Desert Four Corners area here, this time of year, sun angle, that whole thing. The air starts to rise, and at the surface you get a thermal low, counterclockwise flow at the surface. But as you rise up into the atmosphere, as that air gets so hot, it rises, it hits the top of the tropopause, or the top of the troposphere. That's the atmosphere we live in. Not the stratosphere, not the ionosphere. We live in the troposphere. That's where we exist. So the air down here is so hot, it creates a thermal low. The air rises. It hits the top, or the bottom, or the top. No, it hits the bottom or the top of the tropopause and stops. It gets to there and starts rotating clockwise. So now you have an upper level low that has created an upper level high, which is creating a flow. Upper level high. We're in the upper levels now, like this. And the flow like that is monsoonal. It's grabbing moisture from the tropics, and it's shoving it up into the spine, into the intermountain, or into the basin area, into Utah, this whole region. So it's a North American monsoon, happens every year, right? And you would go, yeah, of course it happens every year because it gets hot every year because of the sun angle. The air rises. You get a thermal low at the surface. You get a thermal high aloft. It stops and starts spinning clockwise. So I bet you didn't know that. That went back to my Geography 101 at Cal class. I love that class. Douglas Powell, awesome geographer. He's such a good dude. Battle of the Bulge. I'd say that because he's a veteran. He's badass. He was my field class professor. He taught at Sonoma State for a little while. I think he was an adjunct professor. Either way, he was awesome. He passed a while back ago. So... Right, so there, see that high building? That's why we're going, hey, this is Tuesday the 14th. That's why we're going. I know that 13th and 14th was our best chance for some monsoonal moisture, if you can picture that high rotating, right? So that's in this low kind of helping it along, right? Because the flow around the low is like this. And the flow around the upper high is like this. So it's just grabbing junk, moisture, fuel. So let's see the temperature anomalies. This is 850 millibars, so this is about 5,000 feet. So temperatures today, tomorrow, a little warmer. Said the anomalies, just a little bit warmer. Just showing you temperatures that are a couple of degrees above the average, except down by San Luis Obispo, it's pretty warm. the coastal areas of Southern California heating up quite a bit. You can see why they see that oranges, just above average. This is Thursday. This is Friday. Wait, hang on, that was Thursday afternoon. That's Thursday afternoon. Look at Lake Tahoe, just south of there. It's pretty warm, above average temperatures. So Thursday looks like a warm day. Friday looks like a very warm day, especially Sierra Nevada south. And then this is on Saturday. And he says, stay a little above average. None of this is extreme for, when I say us, I'm talking San Luis or Bakersfield North. So it looks like above average temperatures for a while. And that's at 5,000 feet. So what do you do with that? And then we get to where's the 13th? There's the 13th. And you'll see that it should show, it shows that high building in. That the high corresponds to these warmer temperatures. So the high being the monsoonal engine. So if I go here and look for moisture, this is GFS. We're waiting for the monsoon. There it is. See it down deserts. That's on the 12th. The best chance was the 13th with some of the models right here. I know. I think this model's not doing a good job with it. GFS. See it's down there in the greens. Lots can happen with this. So let's keep our eyes open on it. That's the 13th. So that's going to be more towards Monday of next week. This is precipitable water. No, this is anomalies, moisture anomalies. So we're looking at above average humidity, below average humidity, right? That's below average humidity. Dryness versus wetness. And here, what we're looking for is green coming up from there. That's it. That's your monsoonal flow, and that in fact is on the 12th and 13th. Right, so does that mean it's going to rain? You got to have more going on than that, but that tells you that the monsoonal flow is kind of on, dries out again. And I think it pulses one more time. Yeah, then it pulses one more time on the 19th. So that's just one way to try to find it. What I'm showing here is, I've been showing this. I just think it's instructional in that it shows you the onshore flow. This is to this afternoon. It shows you, and you go, well, it's just the Golden Gate Bridge and the coast. So what, the Bay Area, they're cooler, whatever. It impacts many miles to the north and the south and even to the east, this area here, this onshore push. Those numbers represent a northwest or a westerly wind. So that basically you don't even have to think about the numbers. Just know that wind is going to be there tonight, and it's going to be there again tomorrow night. So not much changes. So I showed you that above average temperatures, perhaps during the day, but a place like Sacramento, and you may have noticed this too when we went through it, there was these big average gap. The oranges weren't really showing up. The blues weren't showing up. It was just average, and this is why. So that's through Wednesday, today and tomorrow. So steady as she goes for most of us. This is the forecast high. These are the forecast highs for today. And you can roll these bad boys into tomorrow as well. 95 in Redding, 97 in Bakersfield, San Francisco, 60-something degrees, Monterey Bay, 65, 75 in Santa Cruz. Out in the deserts, that's where it's going on, and that's where those heat advisories are. So let's take a look. That's today. This is tomorrow, heat advisory verifying. Look at some of those numbers just east of LA, 97, 98, 100 degrees out towards Victorville. And then we'll get a little warmer still. We'll go out, and you see it really paints it on Thursday. These numbers. So look, that's where the heat is, the white. Thursday and then Friday. So do with that what you will. And then this one kind of bummed me out because earlier this was our rainfall accumulation. Oh, there it is. I was going to say it didn't show it, but now it does. Okay. So I'll bet this is rainfall accumulation. I'll bet this is on the 13th. Yeah, 7:13, 11 p.m. So that's that high. So what we and then it kind of stays. So that the precipitable or the moisture that I showed you, remember we showed you, go, hey, here it comes. There's 2 rounds of it. That's it. That's your monsoonal moisture. That's going to be an interesting pattern, and a lot of people talking about it because it looks like it's fairly strong. Again, a North American monsoon pattern. that will kind of break up the dryness of the mountains. This is Wairika. Let me see how much time I got. Yeah, this is Wairika. It's beautiful up there. It is. It is. My struggle is, if I ever move there, I love it up there. I would literally grow a hermit beard, get like 10 dogs, and just talk to birds all day. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know. Probably what I should do, but I almost feel like time would go too fast. This is Auric. Well, it's fogged in now. Dang it. I had a good shot of Auric. It's right on the Redwood Creek. Let's see if we can... No, that's not going to happen, is it? So there's Auric. Come on. It's foggy. Okay, that's Auric. Auric's foggy right now. Auric is was founded in the 1850s by the Auric family. It's Redwood Creek kind of goes down through it, and just inland a little bit are some of the tallest redwood trees in the world. So just a little Auric nugget for you. And then the Auric inversion, I guess that's why the fog is up, because the camera is at, well, I just screwed that up. Let's put it in. So I'm just going to go right here to the bottom of the inversion, touch it. See over to the left over here, 1936. So let's call it a 2,000-foot inversion. And it dries out pretty quickly after that. The inversion goes higher than that. The inversion goes to like 3,000 feet. It's dry. See how they get far apart? But down here where they're touching, that's your fog. That's your fog. And then this is a cool picture showing the fog and how the depth, a couple thousand feet of fog, gets in over the coastal range. And if we look, remember we showed you that shot of Point Conception? So Cape Mendocino does the same thing. Does the same thing. This is like... Petrolia is right here. No, Fortuna Petrolia, yeah. So there you go. There we go. And now we're looking at Eagle's Nest. This is out towards Shasta, looking up towards Redding. Yeah, that's a good shot. Redding's going to be in the 90s today, as you know. Pretty dry. We're looking towards the north. I wonder, you could almost see Shasta. No, we're looking kind of more northwest, more towards like Willits and those areas. The temperature right now in Anderson is, this is the surface map. Why do you use it, Bill? Because right now in Anderson it's 79 degrees, or 80, just click to 80 degrees. 78 in Cottonwood, or it was. They pop in. Surface map, awesome. No wind, very little wind. If you come further south, you'll see some wind, and you'll notice which way the wind's blowing. See how the flag is blowing towards the north? So that's a south wind. Something that balls the tip of the arrow, and it's telling me that the humidity is 46%, temperature 76 degrees. This is outside of Cottonwood. But what I wanted to show you is, and I think it'll work, yeah, how some of that sea breeze gets up in here. South winds. You're seeing south winds. Those south winds are coming up from the delta, which has a lot of fog. I wonder if I can get a good, yeah, see the south wind down in Corning? And you'll notice the humidity clicks up. That's a function, what I was showing you earlier, that marine layer. This is Sutter Buttes. Sutter Buttes. Nothing to say about them other than Sutter was not... he's kind of a... If you ever read any Sutter history, I'm surprised Bidwell and Livermore and those guys tolerated him, because he sounds like a buffoon. And Vallejo, too. I know. I grew up in high school and junior high reading history books, and he was, thank God for Sutter and how great he was, but he was horrible to the Native Americans, I thought he was a jerk to the Mexicans and the Spanish, and disrespectful, and just a kind of a lout. He called himself Colonel, was it Colonel Sutter? He gave himself a title. He said he was with the Swiss National... back then, some prestigious military. He's a Swiss citizen, and he just made stuff up, which a lot of people did when they came west. I was going to say I made stuff up. This is Bolinas Lagoon. Actually, it's an old friend of mine's property. Bolinas Lagoon is interesting. It's filling in, yes, but and they're trying to stop it from filling in because you want the migratory birds to have it. You want the egrets to have it. I wrote down about snowy plovers. It's a really awesome feature in a coastline. Save the lagoon, save the lagoon. But lagoons are like living organisms. They're meant to fill in. That's what they do. And so it's a feature. And so it's sort of tough because you got these egrets nesting up in those trees up by the Audubon Ranch, and a bunch of nesting birds, and you have a bunch of foraging birds. And it's in my tenure I've watched it fill in. When I was at Berkeley, we went out there, and my master's or my thesis paper was on Duxbury Reef, and one of the other people did there. We drove out and did our theses in front of the class, and one of the other ones was on the lagoon. And back then we were worried about it in 1981, but they fill in. That's just what they do. So just dredging it out, it's just kind of it's going to fill in. You come back in 200 years, that's going to be filled in, no matter how much bad you want it not to be. But weirdly enough, sea level rise actually helps it from not filling in. That's a whole nother story. And then the inversion is, a couple thousand feet. And you can see how the dot's right where the inversion is, or where the model is. And look how much fog is pushed inland. This is as of 10:30 this morning. So the top of the inversion is 2,000 feet. It starts down at the surface and goes to 2,000 feet. So that just shows you, and what's interesting is Mount Tam is about 2,500 feet. See how the fog has to go around it, right? Yeah. So this is Nicasio Gap is, where's Nicasio Gap? Kind of in here, I think, yeah. And so that fog really pushes in. It's a low-lying gap. But this is the Marin Headlands, which goes to about 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet, but then Mount Tam, right there, East Peak, West Peak, stops the fog. You can also see, no, that doesn't work. I was going to try to show you Diablo. I think that's a little bit of a Diablo footprint, but you can tell a lot by looking at the maps. The forecast eyes. It's like literally being on these like driving with my dad back in the 50s while he smoked cigarettes with a Coors between his legs and told me everything I needed to know about California, and kind of like what we're doing right now, which is cool though, right? Like he would always go, "Why? There's air quality looks good. Why did that happen? Why do you think that happened?" And he's a smart guy. He read a lot. So this is that's Mount Diablo from a distance. You can see the fog hasn't gotten up there. That's Oak Grove. Temperature Oak Grove right now, just 59 degrees. Maybe it's a little warmer than that by now. No, I messed it up. As well says 59 degrees, and the humidity is pretty high. This is out towards Round Mountain, Fresno, and temperature in Fresno area. And this is what I wanted to get to show you. As usual, I'm running out of time. So we know we have got that big push of marine air, right? We showed you Mount Tamalpais, and we showed you the footprint it leaves. Well, the air, see how the flags are all starting to blow this way. And look how far down they get. So humidity is a little higher out by Modesto. Starts dropping as you work your way down towards Bakersfield. Humidity ends up at 35%. What this shows you is the intrusion of the marine air into the Central Valley. So Sacramento, if you want to do that, Sacramento right now is 66 degrees, right? That's Sacramento is 66 degrees with 64% humidity. I know, it's warmer in the foothills because you're up above the inversion. So that marine influence from the Golden Gate Bridge, from the coastal hills, really gets inland. Does it get to Fresno? No. It doesn't. That's why Fresno's going to be hot as all get out today. Dry sounding for sure. Temperature, humidity, and nothing going on. Just quiet. And then you see the fog down at Point Conception. We already looked at that picture. And air qualities in Visalia and Bakersfield should be good, and it is. Pendleton fire is interesting. I wonder if this is Rincon, Point above La Conchita. That's the Santa Cruz Islands out there, known for the Santa Cruz fox, which is awesome. Never been to the Santa Cruz Islands. I don't know how that's happened. This is the kind of in the hills up by Mount Wilson, elevation 6,000 feet, almost 5,600 feet. And you can see the inversion is not really there. So you're going to expect air quality to be better, right? There is an inversion, but it's pretty weak. A big dry slot above it. So, and that's where the sounding is being analyzed from here. That is that. So we'll look at air quality, and based on that inversion, kind of weak, right? It's LA. That's LA light, man. That's good air quality for those folks, especially this time of year in the summer. Big Bear Lake, a little bit of wind coming up the lake. Eagles are doing good. I checked on them last night. They were in bed. One of them was. I don't know if it was Sonny or who it was. This is Bobby. This was a super typhoon. Typhoon, hurricane, cyclone, willy willy, all the same thing. It's just regional names. So once you cross the date line, they start. I think they become typhoons. I should check that, but to me they're just hurricanes. But you can see it's a category 4, soon to be a category 2. So it's moving into cooler water, but it's also moving towards Taiwan. Right here, that's Taiwan. And that's the big concern, and it would hit as a Cat 2. The thing to note is this, and this is going to happen to us a lot this year too, even though this thing falls apart, which we're going to have some Pacific hurricanes that fall apart, all this moisture is energy. Just because it's not an organized, pumping, grinding heat machine, because they fuel themselves with latent heat from the ocean in evaporation. It actually heats the hurricanes up. That's another day. But this moisture is going to drift into North Korea, South Korea, over to Japan, over to Asia. And so you're going to see a lot of thunderstorm and a lot of inclement weather. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's all happening on Thursday, Friday. This is Ocean Beach. I remember I told you yesterday, just go surf. I'm like, I should, but it looks cold. This ship, doesn't it look awesome? One of my favorite memories was a buddy of mine had a sailboat. He lived on it, and steamer lane, and he got seasick. We were out salmon fishing. This is Point Conception where the fog comes off. Remember the sheer? Ledbetters. Oh, Ledbetters was named for Silas Ledbetter, early surveyor. It's one of Santa Barbara's. I didn't know this, but people love to learn there. But I think it's because the JC is right there. But anyway, Charlie got sick, and I had to sail the boat. And I was a windsurfer, so I kind of got sailing. This is Encinitas. So I had to sail the boat home through the gate into the harbor. And then once we got in the harbor, he was able to dock it. But it was so awesome. I know. It was a 42-foot Islander. It was kind of cool. We were down by just off Half Moon Bay. He was sick underneath, kind of sleeping. I was getting to sail this big old boat by my. I'd never sailed a big boat. I'd windsurfed for a long time. Encinitas. This looks like a firefighting plane, doesn't it? And that looks like smoke from the fire, for sure. Yeah. That was probably Pendleton, what we just saw, where that plane went. Iris, the oldest known breeding osprey in the world. Clark is the mate. He is a good hunter, and it was named for Clark because of the Clark Fork of the river. And then this is one of the birds last night. I just picked her up there, one of them, just back at the nest. But they're not there now, I don't think. Okay, we're running out of time. God, I swear to God, I'm sorry it takes so long to do these, but I get so enthused. And that's how the nest looks now. Kind of sad, but not. And then this is Venice Beach.
tanker. Electric autonomy. Mm. 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 Mm.